What's up, everybody? Lefty here with Party Signs. Today, I have a very special guest, the one and only DJ Pup Dawg.
What's up, Lefty?
What's up, Pup?
Thanks for having me, man.
I'm having I have to keep my shit together for a second type of moment because this is like one of these moments as a DJ you dream of.
Right.
So to have me here, I'm genuinely beyond grateful for your time. So thank you.
No worries, man.
So I have a ton of questions.
Yep.
But I love business, and you were slightly off camera telling me a little bit about how, radio is a business, and I don't even sit here and think about it like that. And I would assume there's quite a few people who just think of radio as like, that's just what we have. They're always going to play music. It doesn't really matter. So, how does it go down? How does this whole thing work?
How do we play songs?
Play songs, run as a business, wherever.
Okay. How long is this podcast? No. There's a lot, bro. There's so much that goes into it, and I think a lot of people just aren't educated when it comes to knowing. Because again, like you said, it's just a box, and music comes out of it. People don't think about how it comes out until you really get behind it. I always get on social media when people are like, "Yo, why do you play the same thing over and over again?" I'm like, "Hey, if you want to do radio, I will sit down with you and teach you about why we do what we do. But if you're just going to sit there and complain, I'm not going to waste my time on it, right? But there's a reason why we do what we do. One, it's iHeart. It's the Celtics of Boston when it comes to radio, right? We are the NBA, iHeart and radio. We're the biggest commercial station, one of the biggest companies in the world, and they drive off of sales, off of advertising. The stuff.
How does it feel to work for iHeart, bro?
I've been 25 years, man.
Is it still surreal, walking through these halls? As I was walking up here, I was like, "Holy shit!" I'm at iHeart.
Every day, bro. I don't not wake up every day going, I love what I do, and look at my studio, bro. This, during the pandemic, they were like, "Oh, you can work from home." I did it one day. I tried. And I was like, no vibe.
Yeah, understandable, bro. Understandable.
So with iHeart, just again, if I was a ball player, this is like me coming to the NBA, being part of your favorite team, being, like that. So, again, the radio drives how they make money, how this building and how this $20 million in Boston company stays afloat is by advertising. The stuff we all hate, advertising dollars, right? The stuff in the middle, but that's how TV works. That's how radio works.
Right.
But in order to do that, you got to keep your ratings up, right? Now, radio, a lot of people don't think about it, but you're only listening for 20 minutes at a time.
Right.
You're going from home to work, from there to the grocery store. It's always like 20, 30 minutes. Yeah, we got Boston traffic that's an hour. But majority of the people, it's 20 minutes. Back in the day, it was 20 minutes, and you competed with other radio stations. I don't care about what my competitors are doing anymore, because that's not what I'm competing against. I'm competing against this. I'm competing against a tweet coming up, an Instagram message, a text coming in. So you're competing of people making sure that they're listening in for that 20 minutes. So you're going to hit them with the hottest records at that moment. How do we find out the hottest records? The listeners tell us. This is a research every week that we get of what people want to hear, what they don't want to hear. You see a lot of greens right there, right?
Yeah.
Greens are positives, reds are negatives. So again, that's a whole different ballgame that I can't even get into because it's data. But there's data like that we're looking at every day where people are saying, yes, we love Not Like Us still. Not Like Us from Kendrick, which you're probably sick of, I'm sick of, is still saying play this 110 times a week.
Yes.
So again, I'm just breaking it down real quick.
At every mitzvah and club. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And our thing is trying to keep those people engaged. Now, in between those hit records, you're trying to slide in a couple of new stuff, but I'm going to play the Drakes and the Chris Browns because they are the Kobe of radio.
How do you select the new stuff?
That's when the DJs come into play.
Okay.
You get a chance to break records and stuff, but again, you want to be part of a bigger play. When the labels go after a record, they press play. They have employees in every market that goes, "Hey, Lefty, we got this artist, Lefty. Say you're the artist, right? And you got the song coming out." They all go into all the radio stations at the same time and say, "Pup, we got this new song. This is how much marketing we're putting behind it. This is the Instagram thing we're going to do on it. This is the TikTok marketing dollars we're going to put on it. We're going to do billboards. They have a video coming out, and he's going on tour. We want you to be part of this thing that's going to grow into something big." Just like any pharmaceutical company. Do you have any friends that are doctors?
Not in the sense of sales, no.
Okay. So, doctors, they have 5 different people that are bringing Advils to them, different kind of Advils. Please use our Advil. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing. It's just pressing play at the same time.
So they're giving you the whole marketing strategy that they're building behind the artist, and you're deciding whether it makes sense to link up at that point on the with that artist.
Because you're going to grow this, you're going to be part of something that's going to grow together.
Right. Long term is what they're really showing
and
you. Okay.
You know that this lefty is going to be in front of you everywhere you turn, because there's a lot of marketing dollars being placed behind it. And yeah, you believe in the record you like. You got to like the record first. You know what I mean?
You got to love the product. Right. You can't just push anything.
Yeah,
right.
You can't just push anything. And then, so that's a quick little pressing play at the same time and watching it grow on the charts. If I just play a record that I love, first of all, if I wanted to play the stuff I wanted to hear, it'd be reggae and R&B. That's what my personal playlist is.
Okay.
But as a business, I want all of Mass. We're Boston's gem in 94.5, right? But we leak into New Hampshire. We got Providence. We got Worcester. We got all these surrounding areas. You want to get the biggest audience you can in that time that people are listening.
Right, the pockets of the day that you got them, yeah.
And during the day, that's why the scheduling on the jamming, throughout the day, is different. In the morning show, it's very tight. You're going to hear very familiar songs because people are going to school and people are going to work. The kids are waking up.
Is that your biggest audience time? I would assume that's when you really got to hard sell the songs, and the retention is earlier in the day, because that's when people are really in their early day, like in the morning when they're going to work, and then when they're going home.
Well, that's people that spend money. Yes.
Okay. All right.
You want them to stay for the commercials.
Yes.
So who's spending money? People that are working.
Right. Yeah.
So you want to keep them engaged as long as possible with a great morning show like Ashley and the Gem Morning Show is very engaging, young. They know what they're talking about. And then you got middays with very office listening music on jamming, but hip hop and R&B, but familiar. And then after 3:00, we got the kids coming in. They can't get out of school, so you start sprinkling in a couple of new.
Sure.
But that new for people in the music industry is that's not really new, but the masses,
right?
Who's
not like us 110 times.
Yeah, is going to be a new song for them. So it's different ways of programming throughout the day on the audiences you have, and then at night the pool gets smaller, so you can mess around a little bit more. Because now the moms are making dinner. They're getting their kids ready. They're going to watch their TV or whatever like that. So now where I'm dealing with, I think about it as when I was a kid. I'm doing my homework, and I want Julio G to tell me what's the next big artist. Julio G was a big radio guy in LA. I want him to tell me what the next big artist is and why I should be investing in Lefty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So until we started opening it up a little bit, we do more mix shows where in the mixes we're playing a little bit more records, but these records all have a bigger game plan. You see what is happening. They have a social media. They're streaming 2-3 million, at a time, not 2,000. You know what I mean?
Right. The idea is they're at every corner, and you're going to be able to pick up on that. And this is where we want it to grow with your assistance type of idea. Okay.
And then some people are like, oh, well, you're not really breaking records because they already got 2 million views. Well, there's 8 billion people in the world.
Right. Yeah. On a large scale, they have no idea.
Yeah. That 2 million, if it was Boston, okay, cool. I'm not breaking a record. That's a worldwide number, that 2 million streams.
And you're competing with so many millions.
Yes.
On a second basis.
Yes.
Yeah. So then, let me understand this then. When it comes to ad revenue and building that here, how does someone get an ad with you? How does it go about, someone working with iHeart and getting some type of ad, with you?
But what kind of ad are you talking about? To talk about your podcast, talk about sales of your grocery store or something like that?
So I would say what the average ad would be during daytime. I hear a lot of, lawyer stuff when I'm listening, and stuff
or wholesale spit.
Right.
They go through the sales department.
Okay.
I don't even touch that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're going through the clients that are coming in that are requesting it, and then they're basing it on what they're requesting. On where they're going to fit them in terms of time slots.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then obviously we have, if it doesn't fit our brand, then we have we can't, it doesn't, we have the rock station. We have the top 40 station. We have, so it also has to kind of fit the brand too at the same time. But yeah, we have a whole sales department that focuses on that,
Right.
They're not when people contact me I want to do some commercials. Cool. Talk to my guy Johnny B. I'll connect you guys, but that's a whole different department. Just like if someone said, "How do I get a song played on the radio?" Hey, we'll set you up with Dawg.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So now for yourself, you mentioned locally about 2 million views, and if something like that was happening, how that would be different. How how do local artists get on the radio station? Because I would assume people are hitting you up all the time, but they're not necessarily coming to you with what is needed to get there. So, like, if someone's new and you really think they have something, like, how would they go about presenting that to you?
Well, I always tell everybody that I connect with that if you're coming to me and thinking the only way I can support is on air, then we should just not talk.
Sure.
Because
yeah.
on air portion is the last stop. Because I still have a boss. We have advertising. The station moves on on ratings. And yeah, your song might be a hit and stuff like that you think so, that your neighbors think so, and your friends think so. But your data behind it shows it's not yet. I'm not saying it's not. You got to go put in that work, right? So connect with the DJs. Socially, I'll support you wherever I can, where it makes sense. Again, without doing it on my socials either, because then I got to. It makes it tough.
You're building
right?
your brand.
Yeah,
you're building your brand.
But it's how do I get on the radio? Like now, you got to come up with like, hey, I'm streaming this much. I just sold out House of Blues. I'm going on tour with this person, and my numbers are all matching up, and it's time to play. Press play, and then I go, okay, well, let's connect you with some people that can press play in at least the Northeast area. So us, Providence, New York, Maine. Maybe a little bit, Philly, maybe all press play at the same time. So at least you move at the same time on the charts. So if I just played, there might be a couple of eyes that go like in industry wise, that'd be like, oh, what is this record that Pup's playing? But if 5 stations and 7 stations are playing at the same time, now you're growing something, and you can't grow it off of, there's just too much. 65,000 songs come out a day. Did you know that?
I didn't know that was
I think
the
it
number.
might be more now.
Okay.
A day. So, have I heard your record? No, I have not. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I've been listening to music all day, too.
Yeah. And then people will be like, oh, look, I got 10,000 plays. Great number. It is a great number. Not knocking anything like that. But you're telling me your 15,000 followers, you got 10,000 plays.
Your retention.
Not only that 15,000 of your followers hasn't pressed play yet, they only heard it once. That's not a good sign either.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like you got to start thinking like that. You got to start thinking outside the box. And why isn't it translating? I got 5,000 comments, fire emojis on my song, but then you go to your Spotify and you got 300 plays. All these people are lying to you, saying yes, it's on repeat. Where? Because it's not.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and I think that's a lot of things that a lot of people, friends and family, don't want to hurt your friends that are artists. They don't like go and tell them like. It's not really that good,
Yeah, absolutely. They don't want to hurt their feelings.
Yeah, yeah. But you're actually doing disservice because they're going to put money behind this record that you really don't think is good.
Right. Right. Yeah, they're almost setting you up for failure, not realizing that their support is actually what's going to eventually get them when they hit that first roadblock.
Right.
It feels so difficult for them to break through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, you've been in this for a while. Like, I know anytime I've heard about radio, your name was always one that's come up. What do you credit that to? Like, we're here sitting in the studio and you've been able to do the things that you do. Like, what motivates you to stay here, to keep hustling every day and being a better version of yourself? Like,
one, you have to love it, and you have to just, you just got to love it. I love it. I guess I told you earlier, like I wake up just happy, just that I get to do what I love. And it took a long time for it to get to where this is my revenue comes in from all of music. For a long time, 10, 12 years, I had to have side jobs. Luckily I'm a DJ too. So I made, club money and stuff like that. But it's not, this is famous words of Meek Mill. I prayed for times like this. I wanted my life to become this. So how could I not be excited every day that I get to do exactly what I dreamt about 20 years ago every day? You know what I mean? Introducing new music, the structure or the research and like the strategy behind why we do what we do in radio. It's all fun stuff. It's a lot of meetings and a lot of stuff happens. I'm talking to people all day long. I'm interviewing artists. I get to watch new artists. All these plaques on the wall all have a special place. Like I have a lot of plaques, but these ones all, like, I saw them grow from nothing to something. You know, like, and there's a lot of them, but these are personal relationships that I have on this one.
Right.
But, you know, like to
Bro,
watch
if people
that,
could see the names on these walls right now as you say this, I'm like, holy shit.
so like watching that seed grow, how could you not, you know, like
Right.
that's what.
What
drives
was
me
the
every day.
first one of these that you saw grow for yourself?
That guy right there, Akon.
Akon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Me and Akon.
What was that like?
Both of us were kind of starting up in the game. And I remember Fat Joe being in the studio, and Akon was like, you know, what the labels do is they'll have the superstar, and then their next artist, they'll kind of tail his route, right? Mm-hmm. So Fat Joe was there, and Akon pulled up too, and they're like, oh yeah, this is our next artist, Akon. And again, at that point, I was just literally trying to get in wherever I can fit in, right? And everybody was excited about Fat Joe, and me and Khan, we were just like, throughout the whole time, we were getting pushed around, like, oh yeah, hold on, and Pup, yeah, you can, you know, we'll have you do something later or whatever. Anyways, so as those times were going, the time, like the hours, me and him became friends. And then at the end of the night, they were like, oh man, we got to go to the club. Pup, can you handle getting drops from Akon and do an interview or something? Now, I already known this guy for 3-4 hours. And the interview was great. And again, it was, you know, both very early in the stage, and then he becomes this
massive
worldwide phenom, right? Like insane, right?
That you like just so happened to shoot the shit with for a day, all on a whim of like people just delaying your time.
Right. And I'm
Bro,
just trying to learn
so
and watch
sick.
and stuff. And same with him. Like he's just, you know, again, you know, he's a star, and he's, you know, at that moment he wasn't, and he knows that. And like, you know, he was just like, all right, cool. I'll wait over here. And now, like, to get him on, I heard, or people like, yo, Pup, can we get Akon to, you know, can you get him to call in? You know, like, all right, hold on. You know?
Wow, what a change, huh? Yeah, that's
but
awesome.
I've seen that with a few people over here, you know, but Akon was the first one. And then
what was the, like, so when you're looking at that for the first time, what were the signals? Like, are you seeing all greens across the board with his music? Like, what exactly are you seeing that's like, wow, this is really happening?
I vibe off of energy, and like, if you're down, I'm going to try to support you wherever I can. Like, he didn't talk to me about music. He wasn't like, yo, you got, you know, like, what do you think? Like, you know, it was just more like conversation. We were just hanging out. And then you just kind of built off of that. And then when the music came time, it was Locked Up. He was working that for a long time.
Great song.
Great song.
Right?
And, but again, he wasn't like throwing it down my throat. Like, hey, when are you going to play my song? When, you know, like the conversation even on text were just never about music, even though he was working this record. You know, it was just always just never like, you know, support where I can, you know, hey, I'm playing your record. This was before, I think Twitter was just coming around or whatever. So it was just like that kind of social media. It wasn't even like the way it is right now. Right.
Sure. Yeah.
But it was just, I really try to support people that are just good people, and you want to see them win, and they have to be talented too.
Right. I mean, that's part of the process. Yeah, of course. You got to get to the game and play the game. You got to be able to play the game. Right.
And there's a lot of talented people out there, but you got to be able to move. You got to show respect. You got to know that it's not a one-way street. It's you know, music industry is a lot of like, hey, I got this new song. You should be playing it. Bro, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah,
you know, what do you mean I should be playing?
Yeah. You're showing up with 10,000 views and 5 fire emojis. Yeah, I got you.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, look, I'm at that level, so I get I'm building it.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, but when you're playing at, like, this is the cream of the crop industry, you can't show up and assume that they have time to pay attention to that when they have so much more talent to choose from.
Right.
And to get upset about it just shows your mindset in terms of how you're hoping to achieve this.
Right.
You know, so I get what you're saying. I definitely understand.
A lot of people, you know, come to Boston and they're like, oh, we're from Boston. You should, you know, you're a Boston station. You need to play local stations. And I always do this, and some people might disagree, but how many players on the Celtics are from Boston?
Right.
Because they want to win games.
Yeah.
Right? And how do you win games? Yeah. Dana Barrows that went to BC and, you know, grew up out here and is very part of the community, and then he was able to play for the Celtics. Right. Great. We would love all that.
Yes.
We would love 12 players from Boston.
Yeah.
I would love 12 artists on jamming from Boston. Yes. But that's not up to me.
Right.
It's up to how you play and how you sell and how are you going to make the ratings better for the station. Right? It's about we're here to help as much as we can, but if the company doesn't make its money, I'm out, and there's going to be another person to figure out how do we keep our ratings up.
Right.
You know? And you're going to be like, all right, cool. Lefty, you're the new program director? Lefty, but pup and his mortgage. Don't worry about that anymore. You know, like I you know, there's only so much you can do to help without hurting yourself too.
Right. How did it feel to transition from being a DJ to having that type of role to where like it is now so much more dependent on your ability to sustain the audience on a national, like, you know, like the level that you're playing at is so heavy, like so big.
Yeah.
Like, how was that transition from you when you got to that position?
Bro, my mentors, I had 3 amazing program directors. I had back in LA, Scorpio. Out here, I had Cadillac, one of probably the most genius program directors, and my guy Dylan, who's my program director right now. 3 different ways of programming, all taught me to like different ways of like managing and how to grow in this position. But just being long term and just knowing jamming and knowing the thing. What am I trying to say? How do I like it was a good long transition to understand why we do what we do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If I would have gotten it any earlier, I think I was up for it like maybe 5-6 years ago and I didn't get it and I was kind of upset. I don't think I was ready for it at that time. At the time, I thought I was.
Sure, as we always do.
But then when I got it, I was like, holy schmack. If I would have got this 5 years ago, I would have failed.
Right. So the timing was off.
There's so much behind the scenes stuff that you just don't know about. And then the great leaderships that I've had got me to that spot. You know what I mean?
So tell me a little bit about Cadillac, because I feel like the way you talked about them 3, he has, or Cadillac in general has like a spot in your heart. So like
he was one of the first ones out here that really, you know, encouraged me to become a music director.
Okay.
When I was just a DJ.
What was that conversation like?
He's like, when the music director position opened up, he was like, "You're not going for that position?" I was like, "No, like I'm just on air." You know, like I didn't say I'm just on air.
Okay.
He's like, "Throw your name in the hat. You know, throw your name in the ring or whatever." And I threw it in there. I didn't get it.
Okay.
But when I didn't get it, it kind of lit a fire under my ass.
All right.
Like if this position ever opens up again, I'm gonna get it. So I worked towards that, and all the stars aligned. G-Spin was in that position at that moment. He did it for a couple of years. I mean, he ran jamming for a long time, and New York Power 105 opened up, and Cadillac and them took off to go run that.
Sure.
Part of iHeart, still part of iHeart. But when he took G-Spin, I already knew. I literally dapped G-Spin walking into his office because I knew that was going to be my office. Because now for the 2 years, while G-Spin was the music director, I was learning, listening, and watching what everything he was doing. And he was starting to rely on me a little bit more too. I was doing a lot of stuff while he was out and stuff like that. So I started already doing the position, helping him, like the Karate Kid moment, you know? I was doing the wax on, wax off for a year. And then when the time was right, I went to fight.
Ready. Yeah. Let's go.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So you had Cadillac, you had that moment, then they leave for New York, your opportunity opens up, G-Spin leaves. So then what's the first day of being in that role like for you?
It actually just flowed. It just flowed, man. It was just, you know, I was already kind of doing it. I knew where it became my baby. Jamming has become my baby. Like I will protect the ratings. I will do whatever I can. I fight with, you know, through the sales and promotions. Like, nah, we got to get this promo done. We got to get this.
Bro, you're the name of jamming. Like you are absolutely. Like, I get it. I get like the glow, but like in terms of someone who grew up in this area, like it just wouldn't be you without you. You know what I'm saying? Like it wouldn't be what it is.
Thank you.
So
man. Appreciate that.
Much appreciated. Appreciated, sir.
And then Dylan's coaching was more on the like, you know, just the leadership, you know, when he came in, how to communicate and talk. And I'm probably not even that good yet. Like I still need to grow on that part because I come from the Cadillac world, which is I put you in a position to win, go do your job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're all like, we're not here to pat you on the back hey, good job with that break. No, that's your job to do a good job.
Right.
So I'm learning that like, you gotta, you know, there's a new, you know, I'm trying my best where it's like, you know, you gotta get everybody excited, but we're all in the big leagues. That's how
this is what's expected of you. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm learning that world and that side now too. And I'm trying my best to understand that it's not the old school way, which was, I'm only going to talk to you when you F up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
You don't want a conversation with me.
No,
Yeah. As long as we're not talking, everything's great. Yeah.
Cadillac drinks and hanging out with them was great, but if he called you in the office, you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel like when I let me talk to you. Like if I call Jules over, he'd be, I don't want him thinking like, what's wrong,
Instantly.
Because that's in my PTSD of what it is from when a boss calls you. You know what I mean? So I got to know that that's not what it is with this new world, and I got to be like, hey, just shoot the shit,
Yeah. See, I appreciate the old way. I'm not gonna lie, like the way Cadillac did it. Like I'm a fan of if I talk to you outside, we're cool, we're friends. But like when we're at work, there's something. Like, the way it was explained to me was like, if you're the biggest fish in the pond, you're not doing much anymore.
Right.
But if you're a smaller fish in a pond of many, many large fish above you, you got a chance of growing and really becoming something.
100%.
So when you say Cadillac I'm going to put you in the position.
Yeah.
Go do it.
Right.
That's the best way to learn.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, so when you say that, I'm like, I get that mentality. But I also understand the new form of like coaching someone along the process instead of being like, just don't fuck up. You won't hear from me.
My check every 2 weeks is my good job. You know what I mean? My invoices for my gigs is when I get that payment, that means I did a good job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. That's how I look at it. That's how I've always looked at it. Again, I'm coming from the older world where that's how you were appreciated by.
You got the job.
So your contract's still running.
Yeah.
But
no, it's understandable, man. I also think that you've also done it in a way where you have transitioned because you wouldn't have been able to sustain yourself, right? So what you're saying in terms of going from the old school mentality to this newer way of working with the next generation, you've clearly mastered it. Like you clearly understand. Like
no,
from my perspective, right. Well, as expected, you would say, right? Like as expected, you would say. But why do you particularly think you haven't figured it out yet? Like, what do you mean by that?
I still have, the way the job duties are now, like I'm not just, think we were talking about all the stuff I do behind the scenes. There's just so much going on. Like I have this to-do list every day that I have to like write down and then scratch off as I go, right?
That's a to-do list.
Yeah, and it's literally shows and stuff, and it's radio, so it's real live time stuff. If I don't get my mix done, or if I'm not, getting a break on or something, I miss that opportunity. You can never get that opportunity back, right? So it's just a lot, very. I've got to be very focused on getting stuff done, and if I get a wrench thrown in there, it throws off everything. It's a big domino effect for a lot of people. For my mixers, my AJ, you haven't met yet, you're gonna meet in a little bit. Everyone's waiting on different things to come from me so they can do their job.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I don't deliver that, then they're all waiting. And then that puts another strain on somebody else waiting for them because we're all tracking nationally. I'm on like 18 different markets at the same time right now. Programming, and then I have my own business. I try to do tours and stuff. I slowed down on the clubs, but I still loved. I'm doing the Neo Mary J. Blige, show.
Nice.
Still love doing that stuff. I consult artists. I manage a couple of artists on the side. Speaking of artists, if I wanted to make somebody a star,
you pick your own artist.
Yeah, but they need the numbers too. So
right.
Anyways, going back to, but yeah, so there's a
lot. They still have to play the game regardless of who they know, bro. Yeah,
it actually makes it harder if you're under me because then you really have to
know the numbers.
Yeah, and you have to really show that you were worthy enough to get on air, not Pup, that's how you got on air.
Yeah,
no, her 10 million views and her plays is what's getting her on.
Right.
So it makes it harder. But anyways, so I need to time management. I've been trying to do the best job, but again, if I try to set up meetings and stuff like that. But if someone just comes in here and is like, yo, Pop, I need to have a conversation with you. Of course, with my team, I'm going to do it. But just know that I wish you would have told me yesterday so I can figure out where I'm going to squeeze you in.
Right.
And I'll make it happen as much as I can. But that's where I've got to get better at. I've got to be able to shift a little bit if I needed to. But I'm doing so much personally and with iHeart that it kind of like, it needs to be in my schedule.
Right.
When people come in town, they're like, yo, I'm in town. I wanted to see you. Well, I wish you would have told me because I can't see you.
Right.
If you really wanted to see me, you would have told me.
Yeah, when you knew you were coming in town, you would have hit me up. Yeah.
Even between me and you, it took a little bit for us to really find a time that works for both of us. Because life for everybody is lifing.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
everybody's moving 500 different directions at the same time right now.
Bro, like I told you off camera, you could have rescheduled this appointment 100 times, and I'd be like, all right, today's the day, every single time.
No, but I respected you the way you came at me and asked me about this, and then about how like you were so flexible with the times and stuff like that. So it goes both ways. Again, the energy of what I said when I meet some of these artists is the same way when I meet people. If you respected my time, I got to respect your time too. You got a big podcast going on. Like, it's not like, oh, he wants me on his podcast, you're going to do my time. No, bro, like, we're going to do this together and we're going to do this right.
Yeah.
You know?
I appreciate it because I've carved out a certain part of my schedule that I can do it.
Yeah.
So the fact that you were even flexible enough to do it, like, once again, thank you. So, I mean, what do your goals look like now? Because you said so much, right? And I feel like the level of balance you must try to have in your life is insane day to day because of you don't know who you. Well, I would assume now you know because of the schedule, but just how much you have going on in a day could change quickly if something's happening. How do you find yourself like balancing it all? Like, what do you? Obviously you have the schedules, but like, bro, when you got time for your girl, like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you have? How does that work out for you?
Again, time management with that too. Luckily, I have a wife that's so like, she knows my career is first. You know how people are like, is it me or your career? You know, she will never ask me that question.
Right? No, I mean, hey, I get it.
But
Yeah.
it's so easy with her. But you have to make the time. Like Tuesday nights is our date night. Like, we turn off our phones. We either sit on the couch, watch a movie, talk, we do dinner, we go out somewhere. Nothing crazy every night, you know, every Tuesday night. Sometimes it could literally just be on the couch, no TV, nothing, just catch up on the week. You know, because we don't see each other that much. We live together, we sleep together, but that's not really seeing each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
So Tuesday nights is when we like literally shut off, and you got to make time for that. I make time for the gym. You got.
I mean, right before this.
Yeah, right before you saw me come. I was coming right from the gym, and then I've got a dog, and that became that's my like morning mental walk. You know, I get with him, and I suggest a dog for anybody who it just forces you to get out.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So.
Yes.
And he's a great companion too.
Which most people don't do in terms of like choosing to. Yeah.
You know, I used to wake up. I still do. I wake up and go to sleep with my computer and doing stuff.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to grow my brand, trying to grow what I can do better for Jam and what I can do better for the artists that I work with, and, you know, the consulting stuff I do. I'm always trying to like keep going. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So you have to like 20 minutes here and there. You gotta. For me, I that's how I stop down.
Yeah.
You know.
What's your favorite thing to do with your wife?
Just chill with her, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, she picked up cooking during the pandemic.
Nice.
So we do a lot of like once a week we'll try to like throw down something different, like make pizza, some Italian dish or something like that. And I'm like her sous chef.
Okay.
You know, so just helping her out, just being in there, having some music in the background, and just being us. You know, we got our mother-in-law with me too. Her mother's with us.
Okay.
So, you know, it's just a small little, you know, we just enjoy ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about the mother-in-law, because every movie you watch shows when the mother-in-law moves in, it becomes you pull your tooth and nail because like it's like you're walking on edge. But you, the way you said it, almost seemed like you enjoy it. So I gotta ask you, like, how is it having your mother-in-law live with you?
She's just like her daughter, easy, man. Like,
Yeah.
just easy going. Like, yeah, she just understands that, you know, like, we're in a new kind of newlywed, you know, like it's been 5 years now,
yeah.
but still, like, you know, she's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to watching TVs, we become the adults and she's the kid now, because if there's like a sex scene, we're like, we can't watch this. Mom says,
yeah. You almost feel a little off.
Yeah,
Like,
right?
we're not what? Let's,
yeah.
we're fast
No,
forward.
we're telling mom, close your eyes.
Oh, yeah. You're adulting her.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, she's so easy, man. She's great.
That's
Again,
funny.
I've got a really tight unit, like with my family, with her family. It's everyone gets along. Is great. My parents come in every so often. Her mom's from London, so when she goes to London, they're from London or whatever. When she comes from London, my parents come and stay at that time. You know,
Okay.
like, so it's like a back and forth. Everybody's like,
So your
moving
family
around.
gets along with her family.
Oh, yeah,
Everybody's good.
everyone's great, yeah.
What was that first interaction like in terms of like your parents meeting her parents?
It was great.
Yeah?
Yeah, all the stars aligned, man. Again, I've been blessed, man. I've been like,
Because you told me a little off camera, but I'll just ask for the sake of being on camera. When you were telling me about meeting your girl and like when you knew like that was it for you.
Yeah.
So like when you go on dates, when you're trying to tune out, is it certain moments that help you? Like for me, I have a hard time being present sometimes. I think about the work that I got to do while I'm in that moment, and I can tell how it's affecting the moment when I'm doing it. But switching it off is a beast of its own.
Yeah.
So for yourself, like, how do you switch it off? Like, is it just telling yourself I need to be here? Like, how exactly have you been able to like get that down?
Just knowing that my stuff is done. And if it's not done, then I'm real with her. Like, hey, like if we do date night tonight, just know that I still have 5 things to do. She'll be like, go get that stuff done. Cause let's be like, I don't want you stressing out. She doesn't, that's not going to do anything.
Right.
So just getting it done. And I know sometimes our world just never ends, you know, but can it wait? Can it be done later? So I put off all the stuff that can be done later. You know, I'm a late sleeper. She's an early sleeper. So like, okay, let's hang out for a little bit, put her to bed, and then I'll come back down and I'll continue working. You know what I mean? So we have a great understanding when it comes to that. So I know there's been times, where I'm like, I can shut off, and then it's not, you know, and then like I'm like upset, and you know, because I was like I wasn't able to shut it off, but I try, and it's hard to not to shut it off because when you do this for 24 years nonstop, 24/7, it's really hard to stop. You know, mine's always moving. That's why the walks have been great. You know, the gym, amazing. You know, like those are the times that really clears my head.
How did the walks help? Like, what do you find yourself thinking to kind of help start the day?
I'm actually not. I'm literally just looking at the sun, the flowers, the trees. I know it sounds kind of cheesy.
No, it makes sense. Yeah.
When I start thinking about what I need to get done, I'm like, I try to find like a bird or something, or pay attention to this kid. You know, like.
So you're intentionally trying to zone out.
Zone out, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and to get a clearer head.
Okay.
Works for me.
Okay.
Yeah, because again, when you're in the shower, you're always thinking. You're always when you get into bed, you're like, oh my God, I have these great ideas. I have a notebook next to my bed. I write it down because if I don't write it down, I'm gonna think that I'm gonna forget. So then I don't sleep.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Yeah. And then you wake up because you have to write it down, and then you move it. Like the whole process is just yes.
No,
definitely
I've been
understand.
I've been good last 3 years about being able to shut off when I need to.
Okay.
You could ask the wife that. See
I'm sure every wife has something they could say about you still grinding. I get it. Now, when you look at your long-term goals, right, kind of like how they play out, like what's your next goal? Like what are you aiming for? Is there, I mean, I would assume with your music label as an artist, I would think as the radio station, obviously, exceeding expectations. Like, what do you wake up and what's your first thought in terms of like what you got to do next?
I've always had the passion of the watching the seed grow, like I said earlier. So developing artist development, finding that talent, and hopefully teaching them the long term. Like, you know, I love the world we live in right now. There's a lot of artists that come and go for 2 years, and that's always been the case. You know, from back in the day, to you know. But then you have the Alicia Keys of the world, the 20-year artists. You have the Beyoncés, the Mariah Careys. Those are what I would love to like find somebody and understand that like like watch them from mad young to grow into something like a 20-year plan, you know? And I know everybody wishes for that, but you know, I think I have the ears when it comes to commercial music.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Yeah. I mean, look at what you're doing. Yeah, bro.
Commercial music, you know, yes, I think so A&R development would be probably the next step if I were to leave radio. Yeah.
Okay, so that's your like next goal in terms of that.
Yeah.
So how do you find to that, like hypothetically, let's walk down that scenario, right? What do you do next? Like what steps do you take to refine? Like I'm always kind of curious, like how sure you're going to refine it, but like what steps are you taking to refine it? Like how would you go about it?
Finding that first artist while I'm doing what I'm doing right now. If I were to continue right now, it wouldn't be fair to the artist because of all the stuff I got going on.
You have your brand, yeah.
Yeah, no, with the station, how much they got me. Because the station
You're
at the end of the day,
committed to it,
yeah, the station at the end of the day is I always say the umbrella, like my theory is the umbrella stick, right? Like the umbrella stick is the iHeart, and all these little tentacles that come out from there is all the little things I got going on. If I mess this up, everything is coming down. So my first priority is iHeart. It's always been iHeart. And then, yeah, I think they appreciate me being able to be a DJ, be able to do producing, find some talent and develop artists and be involved with all these artists. And, those are all the little tentacles I have on the side. But
I mean, that's great value for them, and for you and for them. That's amazing value.
Yeah. So I wouldn't want to mess that up, and just, finding that artist, building them into something, and then going, okay, you know what? Let's focus fully on that, But the second goal is I also want to program more radio stations. I want to, now I'm getting into these big programmers meetings that eventually you'll give me a whole section. I'll have 5 stations to manage, and they're helping me with that now. I've put it in their ears, and I've got the right mentors that are guiding
this
me.
This time you willingly put the card in. Someone didn't have to tell you. Yeah. Okay, so how do you see that playing out? If you had to kind of project a timeline of when you found yourself doing more producing, what is your timeline for you? I'm not saying that this is how it has to be. I'm just saying more when you envision it, you've been in the game so long, you must have a good finger on when you could really get there.
Well, so the vision thing comes from early on, because when I was just a DJ, I saw where radio was going, and I saw any industry where it's you can't just be one dimensional. Right? You have to know how to do this, that, and the other. So I started learning a lot of the on-air stuff. On-air stuff, bro, I was never trying to be on air.
No?
As a mixer, yes. But cracking the
just
mic.
DJ. Okay.
No.
So you weren't trying to talk at all?
No.
What?
Yeah.
So how did that happen?
The world of where radio became of doing more with less people, I just knew I had to learn that part too. Because if I didn't have that.
You were out the door.
Because DJing is great, but that's not what the bread and butter of a radio station. It's a bonus. It's a shiny element during the station. Otherwise, we've been mixing 24/7.
I never looked at it like that.
It's a fun element for a radio station that adds a little bit more to it, right?
Right, because it's all wrapped up as a pretty bow, but it's really a business at the heart of it. So the music is great, but the ad revenue is really what drives the whole thing.
Yeah, and some markets like LA mixing, they do a lot of mixing because that's how their ratings work better with mixing all day. We've tried that. It's not like we don't. We on the weekends when we do all of mixings, we see our ratings and we're like, okay, was it worth it? Was it not worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have all that stuff going on. So I just knew that you couldn't just be one dimensional. Then it became you can't just be 2 dimensional. Then it became you can't be 3 dimensional. And eventually it's going to become, now they got the best of the best, I believe,
absolutely,
doing it. Hopefully I'm one of them. And
you are.
But 5 years from now, it's going to be, okay, now how can we condense that to a little bit more?
Right, yeah.
Just like any
AI
business,
is going to pick up all these different things are going to happen, yeah.
So now you got to be able to make sure that you're on top of that too. So now my boss is managing about 30 stations, and there's 5 programmers, it's just people are doing a lot more with a lot less people.
Yeah,
and that's with every industry. My boy's a doctor. He's same situation in their world. They're doing, a lot of doctors are not getting hired or whatever it is. A lot of flight attendants and pilots and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening everywhere.
Right. I mean, my perspective on that though is, as it should though, if we want the best of the best, we hope that everybody keeps refining it to the point where they have the best talent at whatever craft that they're at. Right. So I get it. It sucks for the people who are losing their jobs, but at the same time, if you can't be what they're requesting of you and you want that job, then you have to really think about how bad do you want the job. Right.
Yep.
So for you were always adapting to whatever the next thing needed to be to make sure that you were staying ahead of what it was. Now, how difficult, and you don't have to answer this one. You can tell me to go fuck myself, but I'm curious. You've had so many great relationships watching the evolution. What was the conversations like when you were trying to tell someone that what you're doing, you evolving and picking up the next craft, when they weren't doing it? What was that like? Because I would imagine you've tried to give so many people warnings being in the industry for so long that you've had to watch someone who you tried to give not a heads up in the sense of you were telling what's being happened in the room, but hey, if you pick up this craft as well, you'll have a leg up to stay here longer. What was it like watching some of those relationships not pan out the way you envisioned?
Well, one, it's never guaranteed, right? No matter, because I've seen people who do just as much as me have been let go. So at the end of the day, it's still not guaranteed, but at least you won't be the target on your back.
Sure.
Right? And I just feel like if you haven't figured that out in general with where life is right now, you're going to have problems with any industry, anything you go into right now. It doesn't have to be radio and whatever, anything. People aren't ready to, if you're going to work somewhere 8 hours, they're going to make you work 8 hours. It's not about coming in, checking your email, going to go get coffee, going to go take a longer lunch break. They don't want those people anymore. They want someone who's going to be there. That's why one person is doing 4 people's job, because they said, statistically, they said people were working 2 hours out of the day. And when CEOs and people that pay these people, including myself, if I ran a business and I found out I have 8 people only working 2 hours each,
that's a shitty business model you run
yeah,
in.
Let me get rid of 4 people and let me get you to work 6 hours.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So that's what I feel like has, really become. And as a business owner, I don't knock it.
I mean, you're there to drive revenue and continue to make the business. Like, if you want to employ these people, you need to make money while you're running this business. Yeah.
It's not for you to come and check. At that time, it was like Facebooks and, and stuff like that. So you just, if you don't know that by now, then you're already like one leg behind. You know what I mean? And I you got to have that hustle in you. And I think that's why you brought me into this podcast. But, you got to have that hustle. And all the guys that you've had on, that I've seen you have on, I know them personally, bro, they've got that hustle in them.
Yeah.
And you want to help them, and you want to teach them, and you want to help wherever you can. Like, can I get you a health insurance and a 6-figure job? No. But I can try, it might not be in Boston, but if there's an opening somewhere else, I would definitely recommend you. You know what I mean? So you just gotta have it in you. And I definitely have learned that I will tell everybody, I will drop knowledge, but I also know that 9 out of 10 people that I drop knowledge to, they ask me, how did I go from 1 to 10? And when you start telling them the steps, they don't hear any of this.
They zone out.
And oh, okay. So cool. How can I do your 5 o'clock traffic jam mix? Bruh, did you hear anything I said?
Right. Right. Yeah. When you're talking about doing the street teams and doing all this back in the day and where you started, and Audrey? Audrey.
Yep.
When Audrey was talking about how you're still willing to get out there, and I saw the pictures, I saw the videos on your Instagram of you just willing to be a part of the crew and really focus on the brand and building it. Like, that can't be taught at your level when you've been here for so long. That has to be ingrained. And when you say, I did all this to get here, and then someone is listening to the story, but they hear the beginning and the end, and they just want the end of my story to be the beginning of their story. Like, they don't get it. They miss the picture. So, like, real quick, people understand. I know she said it off camera, but in terms of where you started, you were at basically the entryest level of entry that you could begin when it comes to...
Twice in my career.
Really?
Yeah.
So tell me about the first time, but I'm curious about the second time, how you got back there.
I was in the number 2 market, LA.
Okay.
So you start from the bottom, just like anything, right? And expected. Worked up from the street team, got on air, again, hustling the clubs, moving around. Anyways, got on air over there. Saw where radio was going, knew I just couldn't be an on-air DJ, started shooting my air checks around, which is what you sound like, my mix air checks.
Sure.
And Boston was interested in me. And when I came here, guess who had to start over again from ground zero? Because I'm in a whole different market. Even though I came from LA, I'm thinking like, hey, I want to be part of this team. I'm ready to help you. Bro, like G-Spin, Roy, all them, I loved them to death, but man, they put me through the ringer, and G-Spin will be telling you, bro, we treated you like shit. But that I love that he did that, and he made me understand that it's not going to be given to me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Cadillac, Tyler, all these guys that kind of it's kid from LA here,
they've seen this so many times.
Yes. You know? So that's where my twice came in, and you just got to have it in you. And I'll always try to teach and tell them that it's, I just started making money literally like 10 years ago. Yeah, I was doing okay, but if you actually did the math on the 25 years that I've been in the business, and if you broke it down, still average is probably $32,000 if you break down to what it was to what it is now. You don't make money right away.
Everybody assumes you do, because once you become a radio voice, they just assume like everything's just roses after that.
Right? No. And then it's hustling, not even hustling, being cool with all the salespeople, talking to them, making sure that they look good. So when I do those appearances, I get more because now I made them look good.
Right.
Like Audrey stopping you and talking to you about that stuff, helps her with her business. And if I made her look good, guess who she's gonna get to endorse some of the stuff that she has big clients with.
Right.
You know, like it's
Right.
such a it's so many moving pieces. A lot of people don't realize I make double. I could double my money because of my relationships with my salespeople.
Sure.
So the money I'm making on the station, and then I make another whole different check there.
Mm.
So when they talk about like making 5 different checks in your life, you should, so
Multiple revenue, of
Yeah.
course. Hell yeah.
I consider that one of another revenue source. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And then I've got my DJing stuff on the side. I got my consulting stuff on the side. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So luckily it's all around music, but that's how I get my revenue sources up.
Right.
You know?
At what? So, I have a few more questions. I know we're getting close to the time, so I'll try to keep them short.
I'll try to keep my answers short.
no, you go as long as you need. I want to try to get these in. When you look at everything now, what is it that you want people to remember you most about?
Oh man, that I hopefully that I'm here trying to help as many people as I can when it comes to artists, DJs, entrepreneurs, hustlers, just getting into a whole new. If radio's not your thing and you want it to be your thing, because everybody as a kid wants to be a DJ or an actor or a ball player, right? Like
Every party has one kid who comes up and says, "I'm interested."
everybody was a DJ at one point. Everybody played ball at one point, some kind of sport. And everybody had that dream, and I was just luckily enough to stick with it. Family support was there, and just being able to get it. So as long as I can try to advise that to the next generation, that if I can help them with that, hopefully they'll remember me took the time to sit down with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The time is right.
Yeah. So, do you think you always thought that way, or do you think as you've been in the industry, that's kind of what you slowly started to want your legacy to be?
No, I think that's coming from my parents. Like, just they've always been givers. So just knowing that you're only going to be able to, I guess to a certain degree, maybe a selfish, like if I help someone else grow, that means I'm going to grow too. You know what I mean? Because you kind of grow together.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And
So-
just the network alone, even if they don't necessarily see a way that you two beneficially, mutually, just because it didn't happen in that moment doesn't mean it won't happen down the line.
Right. I believe
Yeah.
in karma, good karma. Like, so stuff like that just keeps me going to continue helping. Like, someone helped me. I had 20 people help me, bro. Like, I'm not even joking. A couple of years ago during a Radio Day post, I posted up all the people that helped me get to where I was. And probably some people still missing on that. But it was like from Cadillac to Dylan to Julio G to Eric Kubici to Roy to G-Spin to Ty, like they all had a piece to help me get where I got to. But, I had to put the work in. But they all like saw that and was like, okay, we'll help you get to where you need to get to. And then hopefully I was able to make them proud of where I am now. Because, again, when I see an artist blow up, I was like, yo, I had something to do with that. You know what I mean? They were going to get there without me because that's just the way life is set up. But I'm glad I was able to be an assist for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, I would assume walking into this room and seeing the plaques on the wall bring back very like vivid memories of things you guys did in those moments that like will sit with you forever.
Ever, bro.
Is there one that I mean, obviously I know Akon was your first, and that's always kind of like dear to your heart. But is there a moment you remember from working with the artists that you have here that, if you had to boil it down to like one of the most unexpected moments, who would it be?
Ooh, there's definitely. Oh man, probably Sean Paul, and I tell him the story all the time, where I almost lost my career because I played his record in LA radio.
Really?
During a mix show, yes. And I give him, I bust his balls about that all the time. I was like, man, I almost lost my career because of you, but he's one of those. J. Cole coming in on a Saturday, just him and Eve, literally in a car. And just pulled up to the station and, just building from that and just watching that grow into what he's become. There's a lot of moments, man. Yeah. There's a lot of little moments that right now on the spot I'm like kind of blanking.
Yeah,
but
no, I got you. Yeah, you've got so many good memories. It's hard to pick one. I
Yeah.
understand. Tell me about your DJ gig that you have going on. What you said with Eve.
with Neo and Mary J. Blige.
And Mary J. Blige. Yeah. So like that's coming up when?
On Monday.
Monday.
Yeah,
Nice.
TD Garden.
Nice.
Yeah, so I just finished up the contracts yesterday. It's 3 sets. I'll be in between Mario and Neo, and then a big 40-minute set between Neo and Mary J. Blige.
Bro, the way you say those names, they're so casual to you, but I'm sitting here like, God damn.
Neo is fam. Neo's another one, man. He's he's the one I DJ'd for him a couple of shows at his last tour. So I'm pretty sure they recommended me to Mary's team,
Nice.
and Mary's team hit me up. So I think Neo and Tyshawn and all them, I'm sure they made that happen.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. I mean, the network is key. All right, my last question, and then I will let you go to the next thing that I know you're dying to get to. You've learned so many lessons over the period of time you've been in this industry. And if you could only take one lesson out of all the lessons you've learned, erase everything else, go back to the beginning and rebuild it all with this one lesson, what would your lesson be that you take with you?
Oh, man. That's a good one, man. One lesson that I would be exactly what I did, which was just believe in yourself and go after it. You're gonna go through a lot of heartaches. You're gonna go a lot of no's, and that's gonna fuel you or it's gonna stop you. So you have 2 options when it comes to that, And thank God it fueled me, and I was able to get to where I get to. But I believed in myself, and I just knew that there's a lot more talented people out there. But I know when it comes to the work ethic, that's why I have that guy. Kobe is. His work ethic is what drive, like that work ethic, like of now I've slowed down a little bit, but bro, for 15 years, sleeping here, waking up here, clubs, coming here, doing the morning show, doing all that stuff. You just got to go. You just got to, believe in yourself, and you're going to be tired. You're not going to make any money, but it's going to pay off.
Right.
It's going to pay off. There's no way that you can go that hard and it doesn't pay off.
Yeah. I feel that way being here with you right now. I just want to let you know that this was a milestone for me, and I appreciate your time. But other than that, I will let you go. I know you got some stuff going on.
Great job with this. Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you for what you're doing too, man. I saw you with Big O and Access Pro, and their stories need to be told too. So, that's great what you're doing too, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. You got some great people that work with you. They speak very highly of you, man.
I'm very blessed, man.
But all right, peeps. Other than that, DJ Pup Dawg, I will add his social media like I need to add it as if you don't know it already. But everybody have a good one. Peace. Bro, thank you. This was so cool. Now I can go back and be like, you guys have no fucking idea who I talked to.